Hello, esteemed members of our team here at Bay Path University. Thanks so much for being part of this exciting initiative. What follows is going to be a quick look at the way in which some of these parts fit together in the grand scheme that is the curation and mapping of a course for Knowledge Path, our adaptive platform. So, I'll do my best to make this quick and informative. So, here we have first, everybody has Google Drive folder, and this is the best way to get your deliverables to us, the course building team. Please don't email templates to us, but you're welcome to email as one of our students done here and said that, hey, I've just updated my template folder. That's great. We'll need to hear from you pretty often during the first week, but in subsequent weeks, feel free to send us an email, maybe every time you finish a week, as opposed to every time you finish a single template. So we're here in Business 262's Google Drive folder. And the first real big deliverable that we ask to receive from our mapping SMEs and program directors is the competency matrix. So we've got it open here in another tab. So click, poof, wow, it opened. So you can see that this is basically the guiding map into everything. It's beautifully aligned that a student will achieve by taking this class and every topic that this course will cover. So, right here we've got learning objectives on the top, course competencies right here, directly beneath those, and then down here are the assignments, including week names, and I'll show you those in just a second. And then even more granular titles for each of the activities per week. Now notice that for this particular matrix, the white rows are the ones that are going to be mapped in Knowledge Path. So that's what I'll be looking for, what I'll be concentrating on this time. So you can see that we've got a name, week 1, labor market analysis. That's great. And beneath that, we've got all the names of the assignments that will come to pass eventually. So great. Once this is ironed out, next step is, go back into the folder. So I've got to stop putting on the jacket. And we go into the maps folder. So we've got the matrix, and then we say, okay, please arrange these, oh dear, mapping SME, in what is hoped to be a prerequisite network. So here's what we just looked at for week 1, and I'll see if I can zoom in a little bit on it. So given those titles that we saw in the matrix, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, we've got them here. So these directly translate over to this map. And look, week 1 recruiting, also called in the matrix week 1. Well, try to keep those consistent. That should say recruiting. So we'll make it say recruiting later. Oh, cool. So the idea is that there should be one-to-one correspondence between what's on the matrix and then what surfaces in these maps. So this is great. So we've got step 1, matrix, step 2, mapping. Step 3, we need to actually populate these with content, and that's where the templates come in. It's a super important step. So we'll go back here and into assignment 1, KP templates. And you can see that I've already uploaded a couple bits of feedback in here. But also we've got a whole bunch of these completed templates that I will now show you what they look like when we ingest them, or basically upload them into our adaptive system, and give you some pointers on the templates. Alright, so we're looking at the submitted templates by our wonderful curating SME, and I've just downloaded one of these. I like to initial next to the ones that are ingested and good to go. So I've signed off on 1.1, it's assignment 1, template 1, and so now I'm going to take a look at the second one, week 2. Now keep in mind, we can only ingest these as docx's, so I just went ahead and converted this template, no problemo. So if we look at the template really quick, this is what it looks like, and this should look very familiar for those of you who are working with these templates. So the way in which ingestion works is we'll go to our adaptive platform now, and don't worry, this won't be on the quiz. But you can see, kind of a glimpse into our world. I'm working on Business 262, so we've got this great hierarchy. Here's all that happens in the business program. Here's Business 262. And look, we have all the names of these, what will eventually be 6 assignments. And keep in mind, the names are based off of the matrix, front out, sourcing, screening process, etc., etc. So they all have names. And beneath these, we'll open these up, they have all these fun little, we call these children activities. And you can see right here, this template's called unemployment. So we're going to go ahead, find this activity here, and we're going to put the template into this now empty activity, but it will soon be full. Alright, so we're going to adjust this right here, right now. So you can see I've just chosen that file, that's docx now that I've converted it, and we're going to hit ingest. So now what the system's doing is reading all the cool information and content that's in that template and putting it into the adaptive system. Alright, so let's take a look and see what it looks like. I can hardly wait. Alright, so off to a good start. Before I even click in any of the sections, you'll notice that these names over here, these are section names. These are what will be presented for students to see in the left nav. So, introduction. Cool. Section intro, introduction. Alright, looks good. And then down here, we have another section, learning, labor market unemployment, and look, labor market unemployment. So there's this great correlation with whatever you put on the same line as this text right here, and you'll find this text in the macro menu, is what's going to show up in that left nav for students. So keep that in mind. This looks really clean. Normally we look for an introduction, at least one learning, usually two learnings, alternates of each other. So introduction, two learnings, and the questions section to be delivered before the summary section. And you can see we have all 5 of those here, so I am feeling confident about this template. And that's great. So let's dive in and see what it looks like in the system. Poof. Alright, so as you can see, got a pretty successful ingest right here. Introduction heading is unemployment. Introduction right here, unemployment. Perfect. We've got the image upload right here, and if we double click on it, we should see, yes, the alternate text automatically ports in behind it. That's great. Don't worry too much about resizing the images. We on the course building team can do that very easily. So if it's ever a situation you think your image is too big, don't worry about it. We can resize it. That's no big deal. And then you can see just the text underneath. So great. Got the alt text here, end image, and then labor force losing job, and even notice the italics were reported in too. So this looks like a really successful, really great introduction. Next, learning. All right. Labor market unemployment. This is what we're talking about. Now, if you really want to get a view of how the students see it, we can go into the preview mode. So let's take a look here, and hopefully I won't have to pause it whilst it loads. Hopefully I won't have to pause it whilst it loads. And we're back. So it loaded up eventually. So you can see now we've got this great heading, and I'll try to bring up the document at the same place. So labor market unemployment, great. We've got paragraph of text. It's the same paragraph right here. Really awesome diagram. So on the template on the right, start image. Here it is, and the alt text is so it's just students will be able to click on that and view the alt text. Now you notice that there's a break right here, and that is a direct result of this right here, this part. So don't use too many of these. You don't need to, and so you'll just notice that it will then prompt the learner to click this big blue button next. So it's kind of a difference of scrolling during a huge single page or clicking. So this one's fine right here, because it kind of sets up students to click after they've looked at the picture and then to kind of ponder these questions. Great. Alright, and beneath that, you can see next part, there's a video, what causes unemployment. And you can see the source works fine. And this transcript, remember, if there isn't a transcript, you can submit a transcript request form, and we'll take care of that. But suffice it to say, the transcript will be right here presented beneath the image and are easily downloadable into a text format for students. And so then she can just simply click on it and then view the transcript for this movie. Great, so we can just check and make sure it works. And it looks like, yes, it is definitely playing. Wonderful, wonderful. So much wonderful. So much wonderful. Okay, so really lengthy transcript. No problem. End video, perfect. Different causes of unemployment. And looks like we have another diagram here that also ported in successfully. Cool. And then this is the end, because the system will now see another section learning. This is a new one, so this one is done. So it created this one over here on the left side. So this is a totally new section, no new causes of unemployment right here. So let's jump in. Great, looks like we got a couple videos, a couple images, and some references all spread throughout here. This is all good stuff. So we've got a video, 2 videos. You've got sort of some images on computer science part, and then what I really like here is this subheading references that shows up at the very bottom. Now keep in mind you have to put these in every section, just so students know where this information is coming from. Definitely. So I won't click through this one or preview it, but we can see that everything's here, including the attributions, and that's wonderful. But the last thing I'll show you is questions and what they look like. Alright, so questions can be a little tricky. You have to remember to begin a new section questions. You can find that in the macros, because we want the question section to be by itself and not stuck at the end of a learning section. Because keep in mind, if these 2 learning sections are alternating each other, the student may never see one of them and therefore might miss the questions. So first step would be to add in a section questions, and you can call it something as simple as questions. So cool, we've got that here. It looks great. And beneath that, we've got the macros for multiple choice questions. So the way in which Realize It basically handles questions is it stores them in a big old bank, and then we in the course building team define which questions out of that big old bank we want to deliver to students. And usually it's 4 that's chosen, but you can have as many as 500 million in your store. It doesn't matter. But we want you guys to do at least 5. So cool. We can see that I don't see any big glaring errors with the questions that were brought in, and we can preview each question individually if we want. And you'll notice that this writer has wisely chosen to err on the side of true, false, and multiple choice. Really good bet. Adaptive is very good at delivering those types of questions. Less great at delivering the essay questions, because it requires you as the instructor to read it if you are teaching this course. And also, you're free to use images in questions, either the answers or the question text themselves. So that's a possibility. So 5 categories of unemployment reviewed in the module. 5 categories of unemployment reviewed in this module. So the text, and then you can see there's one correct: structural, frictional, and cyclical. Let's go with this one. And wait a minute. Clearly I have some sort of problem reading. Cyclical, seasonal, and institutional. Oh, dang it. Alright, so correct answer. Students can look at it and get the correct answer. Sad that I didn't get that right. But that's the way they display. And if you ever want to include some generalized feedback to students, you can just put that in the solution text box. So, it'll kind of show up regardless of what they answer. So that's an option that's there for you, and it can be useful. So just keep in mind, keep each question separate. Always use the macros, and you don't have to reinvent the wheel by any stretch of the imagination. But the system has some really robust different types of questions that, if you're interested in using, you are certainly free to reach out to your course builder, and I'm sure he or she will be glad to talk to you about the gloriousness that is different question types. Hope that helps get you an idea of the way in which material from the template translates into our adaptive platform, Realize It. And just to give you a final look, here is what the question section will display. Like to learners, it is basically just like the preview we just saw. So, they will begin to work through, and the only thing after this section is the summary. So great, thank you so much for your attention, and I look forward to receiving your templates.